higher seed. However, they chose blue in game number 1, and MVP lost on the side they chose, that blue side. Chose red in game 3, won that. They're back on the red side. We'll see the value of last pick here. My first prediction was that the Pirate would jump up in terms of priority after in game 1 falling through. It has. It'll be banned, first ban by Kongdoo on blue.
Yeah, it's going to be an abandon of Kongdoo Monster with the game playing there. Doesn't want to really deal with it. Roach hasn't had the best game on their loss
and
in
the
game
Admiral, 3. AD Admiral, will not be able to run it either.
You don't want to give the Admiral the game playing here with MVP. For the last game, you don't want that to be the point of focus here. Kai'Sa's going to be banned again, so really not going to be seeing any siding of Kai'Sa nor the Olaf coming in. Actually, the Karma ban coming from the very end with Kongdoo. They don't want to deal with kind of the bad memories they have faced with for most of the times
and
here.
I like this one, Joel. I love the Talia ban. They gave away mid lane priority. Kongdoo won a mid game from some good use of the Weaver's Wall. Edge was on point with that. So really like the Talia ban. The Cassiopeia wasn't working into it. Caitlyn and Morgana are up. Which one do you prefer? Answer for Kongdoo Monster is the Morgana.
Seems like they stuck with the Jinx pick from games 3 and 4, even after their loss in that previous game 3, but stuck with the Morgana. That little addition to the lineup in the bot duo.
And we know what's coming, right? We know that Jinx is going to come back again. Why wouldn't you roll it back if you're a Kongdoo Monster? But like you're mentioning, with the Morgana, they feel like they have the answer, and MVP can't give up to Caitlyn. Now, Yujun is known for the aggression, but the Kha'Zix did not work for him a few days ago. Like we say, a couple of match days ago, in any other match, we'd be surprised to see 3 games of Jinx in a row, but that has been the champion the Kongdoo Monster wanted to run in, and this time Yujun is going to go like for like and take the Sejuani.
And no Skarner here this time around for Kongdoo and Yujun. Went with the Zac last time around and did very well, including that last team fight that initiated to win out the game. Killing out Pilot on that Caitlyn, you should see on the other side of things. Been very consistent with that champion as well for MVP. Pilot very successful on the Caitlyn, just pushing until the very end. Has done that in game 3, but really couldn't do that to the full extent in game 4. It's going to be up against Jinx once again. Very familiar faces now for this bot duo now, but going to be Braum brought back again.
I want to draw your attention to the fact that for once the team on the red side hasn't last picked a mid laner or a top laner and double ban for it, because the Caitlyn needs to have that extra insurance. If you go and allow Braum Tahm Kench to be banned, you don't like where you're at in terms of support pool. So you will have Max take a Braum in the first round. That means going to be more solo lane bans here, as the solo lanes are what will be selected by MVP and Kongdoo. Everyone gets a counter pick on either side. So far, the Zoe banned away, and you know, effective champion pools, especially for Edge, going to be pretty limited because this team just didn't win many games throughout the season. So interesting to see where they get to as MVP. They agree they're banning mid laners, but now at least the Camille denied from ADD.
In addition to the game playing, the Camille is going to be the next one on the list for Kongdoo, which means that everything they have faced defeat up to so far, the main characters of those stories are being banned out here by Kongdoo Monsters. Seems like MVP, they have selective answers, as we do see the Singed being banned out here.
And you know what this says? It says, I would really like to play Ornn and have it be safer than it was against Singed. That's what MVP is saying. They're saying they're going to blind pick Ornn at their first pick on red side and then counter pick for mid lane. How do Kongdoo read this situation? Because something like Cho'Gath is a pretty good blind pick for ADD as well. If there is going to be an Ornn ban, they're going to ban the Scions. They're going to ban something even more stock standard. But now the Ornn continues to really stick out. Hasn't been the best pick today, but makes so much sense, and it should be the draft for MVP.
Just right now is the highest priority of the top laners available. Does that mean that, you know, with Ornn taken away, all these other top champions banned? What is going to be the counter here against the Ornn? The Gnar is available, so he's hovering over that for a bit. It's not against the gameplay, so it's not going to see the same amount of success potential. Just with the Gnar just holding up to lane is going to be the best it can do, but otherwise, it's going to be the decision maker with very little limited champion pool that Kongdoo has in top lane.
You have unreliable choices. I think you're just either Gnar or Cho'Gath, depending on what you put value in. I think Cho'Gath will give them the Baron secure, but Gnar situationally can take over lane. It takes a little bit longer. Ornn's a strong laner. But they do pick it up, and it's time to blind pick mid lane. Will Edge go to one of his old favorites? Flash to LeBlanc, reworked on the live patch, not on patch 8.6. Azir is the tier list blind pick mid lane and would make them insanely strong with 2 threats in the team fight. They take the Azir and does Ian have us something special? Will he go back to his old school days and visit the Syndra in this must-win game? Or will he go for the lane counter pick? A lot of people love the Vel'Koz. Usually, that is a support pick. Max has played at support twice into the Morgana. It's not going to be a mid lane Braum. This would be the mid lane Vel'Koz. They do pick it, and in this final game of the series, winner goes through to LCK Summer. It's going to be Ian jumping on the Vel'Koz.
When everything is on the line, they go with the creative pick of Vel'Koz. And we see Jinx now as not a creative pick anymore. We're so used to it, bringing a lot of success over to Seoul and the rest of Kongdoo. It's going to be a different story though for MVP, with Ian picking up the Vel'Koz against the Azir, who's trying to kind of contest out as much as he can in the laning phase and try to contribute to with that ultimate and also the kind of the AoE damage you can bring with the Vel'Koz. It's kind of the idea mindset of Ian here, but talking about new picks here, hasn't really worked out until they got a few more games. So with MVP here, relatively new pick with the Vel'Koz, see how it does against Azir and the rest of Kongdoo.
It's a big favorite of Crown, this Vel'Koz into Azir, and also a matchup people for many years have said this works really well for Vel'Koz, who largely gets chased out by champions like the LeBlanc that was hovered earlier. The lanes here are very swingy, Joel. It's not the sort of lanes where like, well, of course this guy wins. The papers, they can be crumpled quite a bit. Gnar can lose lane against Orin when the trades don't go his way and if the ganks come through. Very much tank junglers here with a lot of CC, so no real big takeaways from there, very even. But then Vel'Koz, after 6, has some good all-in turnarounds on the Azir. But Azir gets good wave control many different times. Caitlyn, she's going to be happy in the Jinx matchup, but things can swing. It's double-ranged also for Kongdoo Monster. That means the junglers, and maybe even you, June, can be an unlikely hero. Guys, it's Game 5. Winner goes through to LCK Summer, and unfortunately the loser goes down to Challenger. So much on the line. Everyone here wants to remain in the LCK, with only teams around the world that have to fight for that summer spot. Who will win the fight? Kongdoo Monster, can they come back and be the Kings of Spring for the first time ever? Or will it be MVP and their unbroken record in LCK? Let's get into game. Here we are, Joel. We didn't know we would be here. Very nice crowd, actually, and it's free admission because it's the promotion matches, of course. MVP and Kongdoo Monsters both screaming because they'll be robbed of this chance if they lose. They will not be able to roll over to either the Nexon Arena in Gangnam or here in Sangam at the OGN E Stadium because their team will be in Challenger. Very different landscape to Challenger. We've seen great teams come through there. Griffin, of course, already promoted in this double elimination tournament here, the LCK Summer promotion. They're watching on, I'm sure, wondering who's going to be joining them, as we can talk about how 9 teams have qualified. We'll confirm all those details later. Now we see the race to bot lane. No leashes ever. Junglers are really hard done by in this matter, as people are obsessed about getting that level 2. With the Jinx lane, you can completely understand. We start the battle, and honestly, Joel, it's been so topsy-turvy that we have to kind of watch the first 15 minutes, and only then will we get a preview of who will be pushing forward.
And that has been the pattern, really, just throughout this series so far, from games 1 through 4. Basically 15 minutes. You can turn on mute and still understand the extent of the game because there really hasn't been anything going on in the early game for most of these series here.
You'd say, overall, MVP won the first 15 minutes in the first 3 games. However, Kongdoo Monster were able to turn around Game 2 with their creative Baron takes. Game 4, that was the early game for Kongdoo. Turned around, MVP almost closed it, went the way of Kongdoo. So largely the best predictor has been the early game in this particular best of 5. As I mentioned always, we have a singular meta showing up, and the Karma priority was one. Here's a mid lane gank.
Flash coming in preemptively, but
they're really going for it.
And the Vel'Koz misses out the knock-up here, and that might be enough. But Beyond is going to take the last turret damage. And that will be in just enough with that auto attack in the end to get the first kill. And you see, the Zac here is skipping out on the blue, going for an immediate level 3 gank after taking 3 camps, and that will be good enough to surprise out Edge and the Azir. Comes from Kongdoo Monster.
It was a little bit cheesy, Joel, but the timing there was perfect. There was no dash available for Edge. He was level 2, I believe, as the gank started. And even though the all-in involved a missed E. The heal giving the movement speed, another red buff tick, enough to pick up the kill. Suddenly, Vel'Koz has an advantage. He didn't even have to use his flash to get it. We mentioned that Vel'Koz usually takes a little bit longer to be able to shove the wave. You want 5 points in your W, maybe 4, so maybe level 7, and the ability to all in with a life form disintegration ray to truly take over the lane. It might happen earlier as now Edge a bit exposed with no summoners.
As you see, just using that extent of his vision right now, where he was right at the mid lane, just above the waters. Right at the end where definitely the Azir could not spawn him out, and the last slingshot, although a level 1 proc, still good enough to surprise out Edge. He couldn't react in time. He even used the flash preemptively. Just another gank being attempted here, maybe.
Certainly trying to work through his frustration being in a best of 1 for his LCK life with a lot of ganks, and I can appreciate that's a bit of catharsis if you're able to pull them off. And for MVP, if they were to lose here, again we have to consider is we'll hold the narrative point for a moment, as it's a bit optimistic. I'm gonna try it anyway.
Trying to waste time here, just getting a little bit of damage will be good enough for these guys, but
Joel, last spring they finished 4th. They went to Rift Rivals for the LCK to represent Korea. And a year later, they are 1 game away from being relegated with no true change in the lineup. If anything, the one change they made them stronger, with Pilot coming in at AD carry. So for MVP, the strongest team ever in terms of win-loss to actually faced in this tournament. They came in with 13 game wins in a stacked LCK. It would be a huge surprise to many people, including their fans, for them to lose, but now it's only about that single game, Joel, and that's why we see Beyond trying to make things happen in the early game to justify MVP's spot in the LCK.
Everything is on the line, and they do go with this Vel'Koz, hoping that is the answer against the Azir and their key into going into LCK Summer, not going into Division 2 with challengers, as you do mention. But it's important for MVP here. They have to view themselves as a team that just has to be Kongdoo. They can't just remember on the old days of where they were at 4th place, representing Korea at Rift Rivals, but those days are past now. It's a different MVP, same members essentially, but still a very different MVP with different propositions. But you just have to view games one at a time. And here, it's the one game they really need to win out here.
The Monster have been better and better in this promotion tournament. Their 14 best-of-3 losing streak, of course, to end the season, could ever have gotten a team 2. Beyond trying to creep in, will be spotted by a nice lane ward placed by Roach. Has his flash as well. It's going to be a big waste of time for Beyond.
Eugen coming for the cover here, and still level 5.
Yeah, 5.5, but not enough to sap any experience for level 6.
Okay, Zach is level 5 as well,
Yep.
so it's not going to be any ultimates coming through. Zach is just trying to go
Roach
in
is
as much
close
as
to
they can.
Meganar.
Okay, that's going to be the ultimate coming from the Horn here. It's really not going to relate to anything beyond just going down to low health. Roach maybe able to flash in if he can, misses out on that rock here.
But Mininar will give him movement speed. They're probably going to get at least ADD.
Edge coming in as well. The mid lane is coming through, and that's going to be a kill coming in for Edge as well after dying once.
Nice interrupt on the last shot. Beyond's dead too.
Okay, that's going to be Eugen. Very nicely done for the second kill coming from Kongdoo.
Oh, the price of a ward, Joel. The single ward allows them to bait it in. Eugen with the great interrupt gets the second kill. That was looking really difficult. After all those early ganks, the wind was in the sails. The wind is being extinguished, Joel, and Kongdoo Monster could pull off the heist and get back into LCK Summer.
Talk about cost versus reward. A free ward can get you so many things in life and gets you 2 kills. I feel like MVP, we're very confident in their interactions here.
We
just
have
going
to
fast forward
Yeah,
into.
we have to fast forward to show you the value of the ward. The timing there, beautiful. The Meganar was built up. That was the moment when MVP say, okay, we can't get a kill, let's back away. Nowhere to go through the commotion. AD takes that extra turret shot, it ramps up. So much damage onto him, he will die eventually, as Roach will just get into Mininar and get movement speed and take him down. Edge was also there for the collapse. It was Eugen interrupting the elastic slingshot that really allowed this great gamesmanship in the 1v1. We haven't seen this side of Eugen, who just outperformed Raze consistently in solo queue, but could never make it translate into the highest level. They may deny the highest level from MVP with this victory here.
And you talk about the likes of Yukao coming from KT Roaster and also these very superstars. BDD was once just a solo queue laner.
That's true.
And he had his days, and Eugene, I feel like, could be just one another person
Hey.
with a little more experience.
Look, I'm not going to allow myself to opt into this particular story here. We're getting into Bjergsen is better than Faker territory there. BDD looked really good on CJ, but his team was a little bit too heavy.
Not saying he will be ever good as BDD, but Eugene, with a few more time on the lane here, and maybe if he gets to the LCK.
Your papa can't sit here and nod when you're telling that story. I'm sorry, I can't do it, but I appreciate the attempt.
All right, but Eugene doing a lot better than Roach
Definitely.
for this series. And I feel like he's got the very
And you know
valuable game 4 win here.
I think the coaches will excuse the 9 losses in a row if he turns around and they win a best of 5 and keep their spot. So at the end of the day, can only say doing very, very well in this early game. Soul farming up. CS numbers very even on the bot side. It's been all about the top side and that ward in particular. MVP ward coming through from Roach.
No jungle involvement this time around. Zach is there farming out the rocks here, and it's going to be more about Kongdoo just kind of reacting to the initial interaction they did receive at the top lane, where 2 kills did go along the way of Kongdoo Monster. Yujun.
Now he's feeling frisky and playing around lane pressure. Azir had already left the mid lane to join him in, so for a blue buff steal here.
Not even going to keep it for himself, going to give it over to Edge here.
It's nice to see the team react. Jinx walks over, kills the blast plant. It's an ultra safe move. There was information for the side of MVP through the control ward, but no ability to collapse. The lead in mid lane, not actually translating much, and it's, it's Vel'Koz, he's a control mage. It's very hard for him to spread his lead to other lanes. No LeBlanc to make a play like that. His roams are not to be known for. Good start, bit of a CS lead, free access to level 9. The bot side, though, with the Jinx free farming, definitely a bit of a concern as the game goes on.
And it also seems like Secret is having a lot more comfortable time down in the laning phase compared to when he had the likes of Braum and the other champions that didn't work out for him. But the Morgana, the comfort level to the maximum for Secret here. And it's, whenever your Secret's comfortable, it's going to be Soul feeling comfortable as well with the Jinx.
It's never always the easiest transition, because the big thing about Secret was he played, I believe, 16 games of Tahm Kench in the regular season, went 2-14. It was obviously, I need to protect Soul, but man, our team's not doing a lot of winning. I'm not saying his Tahm Kench is bad, just the pick wasn't working, and in general the team wasn't coming together. Adjusting to a range support is actually harder than you think, because you're a lot squishier outside of the Black Shield, and you're often using that on your allies. So credit to him for really putting it together. He's making the range support work. The laning phase has been good. Bit of an attempt at a snipe there, but not going to lead to a steal. Beyond will pick up the first Drake of game number 5.
Okay, Cloud Drake for now. Just a wave clear here with the ultimate coming from the Ornn. Otherwise, another pickup of objective here from Eugene, getting the Rift Herald. Might just pop it right here on top lane when everybody kind of is focused around the dragon that they just got from MVP. See what he does, but Eugene is still traveling around, knowing that the dragon just has been taken. He's going to go for another jungle camp here, but focusing on back on bot lane where, yeah, just going back. See how it does here. Just Smite absent from Eugene. Well, it's not going to take away that Raptor from there, but just all in all, talk about objectives being taken. Eugene being very proactive about his movement. Obviously, the Cloud Drake has been taken away, but at the same time, the Rift Herald being taken, that could lead to just the first turret of the game.
Might be a surprise to our viewers. Usually you think, yep, plop the Rift Herald into the bot lane, get the AD carry out of lane, that's the gold standard. If you can use this Rift Herald from Kongdoo Monster to end the mid-laning phase and force Vel'Koz to rotate second, oh boy, it's much more tricky to get the full value out of Vel'Koz. If he has a vision lead, a turret lead, he can just pop over a wall and unleash that ultimate from terrain safety. Can be just obscenely powerful, but if he's forced to go into longer lanes, eminently gankable. Speaking of ganks,
Zach's going to go in here beyond. He's going to have the just putting it together, but it's not going to really lead to anything with the Black Shield. Very successful. Keeping Soul very safe for the time being, and doesn't really even need to anything. It seems like Beyond wanted to invest in ultimate if that went through, but when your first skill doesn't connect, you just don't feel optimistic for the second one out.
So the interaction there was flashing to get the head knock and trying to kill the Morgana. But she flashes away. They don't actually link up the knock of heads into the knock up from the Braum ultimate into the trap to have enough damage to kill her. So she ends up getting away. So a lot used by MVP. They come away with nothing. Bit of harassment hold here on top.
Go back to mini our form here and trying to go for damage as much as he can. Edge is going to feel relatively safe against Ian, who has been trying to harass the Azir in his opposing side, but really can't do that when the jungle pressure is kind of everywhere else around the map except the mid lane.
So how you feeling, Joel? We are in game number 5, 13 minutes in, your first series here. Jump in if you guys at home join us later wondering. Atlas very under the weather. You can go to his Twitter at Atlas TV and see that he's actually shown photos. Either he's a really good actor or he's very, very sick. So not joining us today. Joel heroically stepping up and taking over the reins in your first LCK casting day. How are we feeling? Because this could potentially be a long one. We're coming off a 50-minute game in game number 4. Are we staying strong or are we fading? How are we doing?
We're doing all right. I mean, for the fact that, I have been called on SOS, literally.
We sent out the Joel signal on Discord.
It's like the Batman signal, but I said it doesn't really have a symbol. But we're talking about, me coming in here and just having to cast this game. It's been a unique experience. Obviously, I've casted, various titles in the past, but LCK, as long as I've been kind of established in this scene, just really casting it is a definitely unique experience. I've been enjoying it so far. Obviously, getting carried by you feels great as well, Papa.
I don't know. I'm getting the Joel carry over here. You got your carry pants on big. Usually just carrying us in the translation, but today, showing so many multifaceted. Then guys will have a team interview afterwards that Joel can once again put his carry pants on. Waiting for that Rift Herald use. We thought it might be earlier, but another gank going to happen bot side.
Black Shield getting early, so it's not the great timing coming in from the Black Shield, and that's going to be Morgana going down.
What didn't work last time, but Flash was down. They make it work that time, so get the gank. No objective to take around it. A lot of turret damage to be done, and now Yujun says, I'm going to force you to walk over, and not a moment too soon, the Rift Herald about to time out.
He's going to be summoning down in mid lane, as you did mention. Getting the Vel'Koz out of lane early would be the best proposition for Kongdoo Monster here. Azir with the fast wave clear, just trying to get the Rift Herald rushed into this mid lane turret.
And yeah, the rush is pretty apparent as it was very deep, and he actually gets to hit the backside before it charges the first time, and when it comes to Rift Heralds, that doesn't work well for Shelly, who, taken down, only does about 500 damage to the mid lane.
I mean, the heavier you are, the bigger you fall. I mean,
apparently.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be. And
that doesn't necessarily always apply to League of Legends. We have some pretty interesting exceptions, like Corki can buy boots for some reason.
Oh my.
He flies. What does he need boots for?
He has rockets, though.
Yeah, but he has rockets. Doesn't need shoes.
Just for fashion statement.
Well, the brown bags, the fashion statement taken by Pilot in this game. And the laning phase extended. First thought there is advantage to Jinx. But I'm waiting for a team fight. I'm waiting for how do we get the maximum out of the mid lane Vel'Koz. 2 games to support Vel'Koz, 2 losses. This time the mid lane Vel'Koz specifically into the Azir as the counter pick. Works in the team fight and the end of the laning phase. But team fights, none to happen in the first 16 minutes.
4 stack didn't come through from the Braum passive. Pilot with the long range. Tried to get that 4th one to get the stun up there, but right now you see Zach just chilling down in that control ward, feeling very comfortable about his position. Okay, now he's going to be spotted here, just walking back to the line of vision that Kongdoo has, but it's going to be Yujun now, just seeing that the Zach was around, just trying to provide cover in case. Go for anything crazy here.
Doesn't really feel like they're threatening more than just damage. Get a lot onto Soul. Maybe that'll do the job for them. They don't have the Vel'Koz roaming down like Karma or Trundle were in previous series to guarantee this turret. And Yujun there, just biding his time. The sucky part of being a competitive jungler is when you just try to be a bit of moral support around the turret take. Moral support could be very valuable as Yujun reveals himself and not a moment too soon.
Okay, it's going to be... That's going to be good enough for Beyond to cancel his Electric Slingshot, and Ian's just going to be wasting his time down here while the Azir keeps pushing, and Ian's just going to head towards the next Drake here, and the Ocean Drake will be the next one on assignment for AVP.
Well, it's slower solo coming through, as for a moment there it seemed like Zach would have to do it himself. Gets a bit of pity from Ian, but at the cost of quite a lot of mid-lane turret damage, as you were mentioning, Joel. They give them complete supremacy. Ian has cleanse, he feels strong enough to walk up, but never feel good about that trade. And turret damage mid and top lane for Kongdoo Monster is standing gold, but not standing gold that can be acquired just yet.
Talked about chip damage that went towards the investment that Ian went towards the bottom lane to help out Beyond to get that bot gank, but didn't really come through with Yujin being in the presence.
He had to flash awkwardly, Roach. We missed that one. That was off screen. Thank you, Observer, for showing us that he got caught up, I guess, under turret by a searing charge. Maybe we'll get a replay, but probably not going to be too central to this game.
Gonna get another siege here in bot lane, especially with the Caitlyn and the Braum.
And leaving lane, clearly very, very costly. Just walk up, try to DPS it down. The jungler is still here, and basically from full health, it is the turret claim from MVP.
First turret comes through with Yujun and Edge just trying to do the same in this mid turret here.
He can try ulting just for pure damage.
Okay, Yujun's gonna just take a little bit of damage.
Oh, works out though.
Okay, but Ian still has to be a little more careful. There's gonna be other teammates joining in the fray here.
But there wasn't enough threat onto the mid laner there.
Okay.
Speaking of threat, gonna be shorted. Amusingly, their soul flash too early. That was a bit of a comedy of errors.
Could have been, but definitely could have been better safe than sorry for that occasion, and so safe for now. Really going to be more about Edge. Can he and his teammates push out the mid turret? That will be the first objective.
We'll call that one a Game 5 flash, where you're like, I just need to not be caught, please! And then it's, well, awkwardly, you didn't need to flash at all.
A lot is on the line, Papa. It's like, you lose this game, and you have to play about 4 months in Division 2. You're not Division 1. You're not top class. You're going to be the next one best after that.
And you can definitely see that was wearing on the mental side of Soul with that particular play. Remember, Ian just ulted and didn't have to lose his turret, so he was able to swap an ultimate for, now what, a minute, 2, 3 minutes of turret life. That's a very good value trade. So a couple of flashes down. Roach we saw off-screen, Soul we saw on-screen and had a bit of a laugh at. But they can just weather the storm for another 3 minutes, continue to roll down. Here's Soul. He's not too perturbed about his misplay. They'll push through mid-side, and they're very close to cracking this mid lane out of turret.
You have to mention that he is running out of flash, and he's going to stay safe for now. Sees the ward being planted right there with Roach. There has the evidence call here, and Edge is just going to put down the control ward to clear that one out. It's going to be more about the first 20 minutes, very similar to the entire series that we've had with the 4 games previously. No action. Nothing really significant to change the tides of the game, but more about what you can relate to the growth you have kind of gathered for yourself, kind of implemented for the first 20 minutes. How can you translate that into bigger objectives that both teams have shown so far?
You need to be more clear. We know there's only one big objective that decides this game. The Baron is the one that has decided both the wins, I would say, for Kongdoo Monster. So the Baron play, it's not going to be as easy because we've had at least 3 out of our 4 games have been 3 turrets go down and a Baron is taken. Not always for the team that has the 3 turrets, but the longer map state is what has led to that Baron. It's a shorter map. It's only 1 turret taken by MVP in the bot side. So access to Baron, frustratingly for Kongdoo in particular, a little bit more limited right now.
It's getting clustered up here quite a bit, and MVP wanted to take advantage of that, but it's going to be Kongdoo Monster just reactingly gets out of there. It's going to be no problem for now, and Soul and Secret just going to hop back onto top lane. Our Roach is here. Chip out basically the full health of the bot turret as we stand right now.
Roach has decided he's killing ADD with the build he's gone for, copying Sword, and we also saw it from Tai yesterday, going for the Rage Blade second on the Gnar, makes him much stronger in the 1v1.
Escapes the gank right there with the Azir. It's very tough to gank when you definitely have that escape tool available. Secret just going to take the ultimate to his face, but otherwise not really a problem from Kongdoo Monster, just trying to defend out this top lane, which is also, we have to mention, it's very much full health. Caitlyn and the team just wants to chip it out little by little as the lanes keep progressing.
But we know, we're still foreshadowing. We know the Baron play will probably decide this game, and it's been a slower early game because it's that best of 1 for your LCK summer spot. Completely understand. A bit of passivity. Remember, Soul's flash is still down.
Is that going in here? And that's going to get the ultimate. It's going to be successful. And Soul is going to be dead in a heartbeat, and that's going to be going down. We talked about Secret going down. Maybe it's okay, but when you talk about Soul going down as a Jinx, something that's very less acceptable for the side of Kongdoo Monster.
And a decisive Zac engage is what allowed Yujun to end game number 4. A decisive Zac engage there. Able to take down the Jinx, speed up the tempo of the game. Second turret 100%. And a roll down top side. In the early game, not a lot of AP, the Black Shield, just a bit of magic damage and it's gone. So able to DPS through it, get the kidnap. Goodbye, no flash Soul. That ends up being the delayed punishment for the overuse of the flash earlier. Speaking of use of flash.
Cleanse is going to be coming through, and that's going to be Ian getting out for now, but it's going to be extension, another flash being used. I decided MVP just to get out of there. That means that Ian stays safe, and the mid turret is still alive.
But there is something to return to now, so it feels like Jinx and Vel'Koz, because they have no escape, are those two champions who have to be closest. And expecting the summoners, that one I can appreciate. It's Flash to get away from a flash Streamer shuffle from the Azir, and just flashing to safety. They get the turret top side. Kongdoo Monster trying to create a zone of control, because they were, of course, just weak around this area. They just lost a turret here. But they're trying to make MVP go somewhere after MVP has taken the control of the game in the past 5 to 10 minutes.
See the Kongdoo Monster, the movement here is making the MVP squad react. How they are trying to just knock off the top turret here, but Ian, very efficient wave clear here to get that down in. We kind of harassed the efforts being made by Kongdoo Monster on this effort here. ADD is going to be looking towards the Infernal Drake, just kind of call down his teammates to help him out on this occasion, because he can tank it all day, but the damage needs a little help on that one.
He's soloing it, which is mostly just to make it mean it's lower health when his team walks up. He's definitely not going to finish this one off. They already had the first Drakes of the game. They got the in-try track on this one. Kongdoo Monster seeing Infernal, they want to fight for it. They're going to be late.
The bot lane control coming in from MVP makes that Infernal Drake take a little bit easier on that occasion. That means that Soul and the rest of the team...
Oh, Secret, you're so squishy!
Hey, Soul is going to be right here. He can't be caught out. Secret is still alive, surprisingly, but Soul's going to go down again. The Jinx going down is the bad news coming in from Kongdoo Monster. Roach is just trying to abandon as much as he can, but it seems like MVP, after getting that pick and seeing the Gnar in bot lane, just going to head towards the Baron and possibly look for a sneak one.
Now they have Azir, they also have a mini Gnar to run around and harass. He's teleporting early. They're starting the Baron here, but with Azir damage, you're never sure if they can complete it.
It really is a very slow Baron take for now. Just going to back away from it. Going to take away the teleport coming from the Gnar. So Roach had to abandon the bot lane just in case. MVP were going to be just kind of cheeky in the ways of taking away the Baron. But with the red buff, take out the mid lane. First turret here. It's going to be the first turret in this game for Kongdoo Monster. So Roach trying to do what he can to be efficient to make sure his team stays alive. But I think the Baron hasn't gone through so far, so other than a kill with the Jinx, there really hasn't been anything else for MVP moving forward here.
They can't really improve their game state because Baron against Azir and a pretty full health Roach was not going to happen. They had a teleport, that part feels pretty good. We noticed that Roach went the Rage Blade's completed now. He's very good at the 1v1. We saw Nara versus GP going Rage Blade. Against a tank, it just means you're going to be proccing the Hyper every half second. You're going to feel so good about that. Just 2 autos once you stack up the passive on minions. That's usually what happens. Stack it up on the minions, then turn onto a champion and get the 6 stacks and the full value out of the Phantom hit. So it's going to be able to DPS down AD very quickly. However, AD's ready and locked and load to go to teleport out of lane and make the big play. Let's see how that Orin TP goes. As for now, lane assignment puts the top laner's bot side, and Vel'Koz pushing it top.
Hoping that bind does connect onto Pilot, but it keeps going onto Max, which is not the target they're going for here. But Kongdoo Monster kind of split up into the 4-1, same as goes for MVP. It's going to be Gnar and Ornn in bot lane just fighting it out as the other 4 members just trying to get picks as much as they can. Secret just gets away for the skill shot coming in from Vel'Koz.
Very tricky to take down this turret. Very good ranged wave clear from the Azir. They have a double control wall just to ensure they can throw a Dark Binding and interrupt. Ornn pulling back. Remember TP advantage for ADD as you're going to get to. Baron's still very healthy, and I think Kongdoo Monster are pretty aware that they're looking for a turn here, MVP.
Roche just trying to run up the hills here, trying to get to the Baron as fast as they can. Baron's going to be a teleport coming in. The one
Are we going to 50-50 for the LCK Summer?
Yeah, Eugene's going to be right here. He can't work in here, and that's going to be him going down.
Braum got
right
it.
Braum got it actually right, and it's not going to be a smite battle that ended everything, but Orange is going to be using the ultimate to knock Soul up, but I think MVP is going to be feeling very happy about the fact that he still mismited, but got the Baron even without Eugene pretty heavily contesting it by going in with the Q.
Beyond smited too early, and then Braum damage got it. Oh boy, that was close. Kongdoo Monster, they got MVP out of position. It's going to be a single turret. They'll back away. Baron buff worn by MVP. Their operation, break the base, those outer turrets. Time for some inner turrets for MVP.
We talked about the wins going for MVP. Went towards getting the Baron buffs when they needed to. And fortunately, the games 2 and 4, the one they lost out, was really due to the Baron buffs going against their way as well. So seemingly, getting the Baron buff here is a feel-good moment for MVP.
Actually missed it. Braum smite that time. That's why they had that smite interruption. Change to exhaust, they backed, they're pushing through here, MVP. Exhaust will be up later. They take the inner turret, they swap inner turrets out. MVP, have they created a lead? Have they got enough to actually close this series? I mean, against Kongdoo Monster. Pushing in. ADD puts together a warm-up for all this. Baron buff still for 2 minutes. This is a Baron buff power play, Joel.
It really is. A second turret going down in the top lane will mean the end. The initiate coming in from beyond here. It's going to be taking a lot of damage. Might go into
the bloblets.
Bloblets for now. The Ornn ultimate just trying to zone them away from killing the Zac. The ultimate coming from the Jinx does almost enough damage, but it's not going to be quite enough to knock the Zac down for a second time. But more importantly, it's going to be Kongdoo Monster losing another turret, the second one in the top lane. Talked about the good wave clears coming from Jinx and the Azir. Really not effective when the Baron buff is on those minions.
Still, at the end of the day, it's a Baron buff and your base hasn't been broken. So there's not the ultra worst scenario for Kongdoo when it comes to the full value out of this MVP Baron. Looking at items, a lot of parity. Pilot with his 2 kills is a Zeal completion ahead and a QSS ahead of Jinx, so definitely has a lot of power loaded there. For once, no Zeke's Convergence on his team. Only Zeke's Convergence on the side of Yujun. Otherwise, Azir, Vel'Koz, they're loading up. MVP pushing through the bot side, trying to take the last easy turret, which represents the final inner turret of the game.
Soul, and the rest of the members, Kongdoo, kind of reacting to the fact that they're just trying to extend this Baron play here with MVP. Pilot just pushing in relentlessly, and we can't do anything much about the second turret. It's gonna just react back with a turret of their own with the Gnar in Mega Gnar form, just trying to answer back as much as they can. Gonna force the recall coming from the members of MVP. So, like you said, they lost some, but they haven't lost the majors when it comes to the inhibitor turret. They're still fully alive.
Right decision for Roach to stay in the sideline. He hasn't built team fight. He's gone for the Rage Blade, so he does have turret threat. So it makes sense to double down on taking something. The Gnar being there wouldn't have changed losing it. Inner turret. They give away all the easy objectives, means the second Baron will be the ching moment if MVP are able to pick it up. Hell, could mention also that getting the Elder Dragon to spawn looks pretty happy. If you take it now, it will spawn around the 36-minute mark. Gathering Storm, always information I want to show over to the viewers. Azir actually took the Scorch for laning phase. Does mean there is a Gathering Storm advantage on the side of MVP.
Edge basically soloing down. Next Drake here, and it's going to be in the ocean. The first one going over to Kongdoo out of the 4 Drakes that have appeared so far. It's going to be more about MVP here. Really not caring about the little objectives they are losing. Kind of exemplary with the Ocean Drake, but they're more focused on getting turrets as much as they can. More importantly, trying to get the inhibitor turrets. They can't do it at all possible, but right now, the Pilot and the team just trying to rush forward with this. They still have to be a little cautious, especially with the Gnar still split pushing left and right.
And also, Joel, we have to remember, Game 4, they got him back enough in the game to make it a one-fight game, and Kongdoo Monster won that fight. Consider, Azir Jinx are at 3 items. There still is certainly a one fight that is won by the side of Kongdoo Monster. I know that's confusing to say, but one team fight can definitely be won when you have Azir Jinx as threats and so much CC on the side of Kongdoo Monster. There is certainly something that can be said about choosing your objectives. They've got great forward vision to try to find a catch. Speaking of catches, MVP at bot side, they just want to chase down Roach as a team.
Seems like Kongdoo Monster are putting their covers down as well. Roach
might get out.
He's going to use a nice flash, needing a black shield, but
whoa!
Wow.
Well, that's deletion there, the death cap finish. Ian catches Jinx in transition between lanes. Jinx was going very aggressively. That's a straight-up solo mistake from Soul. Roach made a great play to get away because he baited away the prediction ultimate from Max and got out. But Soul giving up his life is arguably much worse than the Gnar going down.
25 seconds left on the clock for the Jinx to come back into form, but this might be the best chance for MVP to get their attempt onto the inhibitor turret. Talk about Azir and Jinx being the main threats and clearing the waves. Trying to do it here without the presence of Jinx. They can make it a little bit easier to do so. It's going to be taking a lot of damage.
He does.
Just kind of underestimates the damage coming out from the turret, and going to take a lot of damage. Pilot's going to be going down as well if he gets that bug.
Re-engage!
The edge goes down, so the second damage potential coming in for the side of Kongdoo Monster going down as well. So it's a 1v1 trade in this mini scenario. It's going to be Jinx coming right back. Can join the team fight if there's a re-engage.
who's baiting who? These fights are so close because the AD carries walk up and people's life bars are deleted. Able to get the kill there because Edge walked up to poke after getting a single kill. Took a couple of autos and some CC and died incidentally. MVP, take a deep breath. They do not break the inhibitor line. They also give away early Baron control to Kongdoo. Monster getting closer and closer to that fight. Another BF sword. This time, I don't think we'll see Soul walk into melee range of the Vel'Koz and give up his life as tribute.
Speaking of Barons, it's going to be 35 seconds before we see it reappearing. Summoner's Rift. See that back. See Roach just trying to get all the minions he can, get all the extra gold before he joins in his next team fight. I imagine a 5v5 scenario will open up for the two teams really knowing the importance of Baron in this particular series. They're going to just highly prioritize. Oh no, that's a
Pilot Fat Fingers, the
finger.
Mercurial Scimitar, not ideal. That's going to be on a cooldown for a couple of minutes here.
In case Yujin gets the ultimate onto the Caitlyn here, that's going to be a different proposition that they wouldn't have gotten.
And we're getting some of those reverse clutch moments. We talked about Soul's flash early in the game. Nervous because it's a game 5. That finger there comes through from Pilot. 80 carries making a couple of boo-boos in this series. And the timing couldn't have been worse. It means he will not have Mercurial Scimitar for the next minute or so.
Problem is, MVP members know that the Mercurial Scimitar is gone, but Kongdoo Monster did not see that in action, so...
Does affect positioning on the side of MVP, though. That's the thing is, sure, you now still respect it from Kongdoo Monster, but does affect the mentality of the side of MVP, and it's a bit of comms you don't want where someone's apologizing for pressing the wrong button. Return to live, though. Side waves, they're pretty equalized, which means we're all about the 5v5. There was never any doubt. It's the promotion match to Edge. Oh!
Goodness, just one passive stack from the Vel'Koz.
And
Is going to be enough to get out, and the Edge going down low. It's going to be a signal for go
It's on a ward as well.
For MVP, and they just don't care. They just want to get the Baron as much as they can, and Secret's going to go down, and really is about Baron being taken quite easily from the side of MVP. So a sign of importance that we have kind of emphasized through the Baron. They're back at it again, and MVP gets the second one of this game.
It's those solo mistakes. You have one, now you have one. Edge was actually backing on awards. They had 100% info that he was going back. That just gives up a Baron. One single chunk, and Vel'Koz and Caitlyn up to the task of chunking. Just people going back to base leads to the second Baron here for MVP, and they're going to have Baron while the Elder spawns in 1 minute. A 3-stack Elder, no less. MVP in control. Hasn't always meant everything. The 35-minute win control hasn't always meant the team victory. MVP, they feel like they're ready to go. Summoners going to be up on Edge and Soul. If Kongdoo Monster can make this an even fight, that's already something. They do spot ADD walking up.
One's going to be coming in from the side. The ultimate, I imagine, will be ready, but it's not going to proc it right away. The 4 members are a little bit distanced away from the rest of the members of Kongdoo Monster. The Orange going to be propping now. The ultimate, and the ultimate's going to be propping from.
Vel'Koz
going down. Vel'Koz almost gets Morgana in a single ultimate charge, but escaping just in time. Secret just has to run back to base. No time for recalls there, but it's going to be about Kongdoo Monster without the Morgana. What can they do? If MVP decides to rush forward, but it's going to be MVP just retreating back.
And we talked about this so much when we had Vel'Koz with Cleanse as a counterpick to Morgana support. There is no worse time than a Morgana having to deal with Vel'Koz. She just can't get in range. She gets outrange, and the Black Shield has no value. Elder has started. 1 minute 50 left on the Baron. It's going to be purely about combat stats here. See how Kongdoo Monster approach.
Most of the members of Kongdoo Monster are here to kind of contest this Elder Drake here. They
and the
don't
smite finger hasn't been the best. We do not have double smite this time. Only beyond with the smite.
It's going to be right here. Kongdoo Monster, can they?
They can't really pressure Ian. They have a ward if he goes around the wall. The Elder's at 2,000. It releashes.
And Yujin just going to go for it, but he's going to be holding on to a multitude of CCs.
The team's not with him. The team doesn't advance when Yujin advances. Should be Elder. Vel'Koz picks it up. What is with the smites today? But they get the Elder. They still have the Baron. Kongdoo Monster allow Yujin to go forward. I don't know where the communication fell away, but it certainly wasn't a team decision to go for that contest. Now they have Elder. Now they have Baron. Now it's 5v4. What can MVP do? ADD could switch over to teleport and try to close this game with a TP, but I think they can just roll up and take at least an inhibitor.
In addition to what you were saying, Yujin is still out for the next 18 seconds, and that will be enough time for MVP to make a hard push, especially with the Caitlyn and the Vel'Koz.
Oh, that's one Q. Soul down to 50%.
Black Shield trying to stay him alive for a bit.
This
The
Vel'Koz
turret-
is science, Joel. They take the inhibitor turret.
Inhibitor turret goes down. The inhibitor is going to follow suit right away, and that's going to be the next one for MVP. Just collecting in their pocketbooks of everything they want to relinquish before they get the eventual victory. But it seems like MVP with so much advantage in terms of objectives, that's carrying them forward big time in this 40-minute mark that we're about to approach.
So many times, unfortunately, the Rageblade Gnar hasn't been able to split because the map has gone away from him. He's a team-fighting Gnar. He hasn't gone full damage, but a couple of those Qs hit, and they're on such a short cooldown from the Vel'Koz. Health bars are gone. They're completely gone, and that is a pretty damn sweet hat that Ian has on here. The Ornn upgraded hat he is wearing. I forget the name. I'm just going to call it a pretty sweet hat, and a pretty sweet hat means no health bars on the side of Kongdoo Monster. MVP continue to push. They know the siege with Caitlyn is what they have made this game about, and Vel'Koz pretty good in the siege too, as we're learning. They push up. They're threatening all in. What will Kongdoo Monster do? Now's the time for a super play on their side.
And Eugene just trying to block the body shots coming in. Pilot there, but it's going to be
Sony
an ultimate coming through, and the Vel'Koz ultimate putting a lot of damage into Sejuani, and it's going to go down in an instant. ADD going back for the reinitiate.
Soul Dice game's over.
Going to exhaust, and that's going to be one more damage coming through. Just flashes out of there, just gets into
Flash
Sejuani.
auto!
Just one more damage altogether, and that's going to be the burn damage. Might be killing out the soul, but really doesn't come to the case. Inhibitor falling down. Will they go for more here, MVP? They could potentially
zone
do it.
the backs. They do interrupt Secret.
Okay,
Jinx gets away.
Soul's gonna be back here, so knowing that information, they're gonna stay put to make sure they stay on track. But Edge is gonna be hit by one Vel'Koz skill and gets down to full at half health. Is kind of what we were trying to predict what we're gonna be seeing for the rest of the games here. Vel'Koz is a big target in addition to Caitlyn that we haven't seen from the previous 4 games, but in this game 5 they're in for a surprise factor they haven't expected, and here they are, have to just make a little more contest in addition to Caitlyn to face against Vel'Koz.
Problem they have though is that Kongdoo Monster can't really think about targets. They're not assassins, they're medics. They're trying to help their people not go down. They're not getting anywhere near the Vel'Koz. He's just throwing out Q after Q, and people are dying. Speaking of Qs,
oh, the Vel'Koz going in. It's in range for the ultimate, and that's going to be with the help of Zac going down. Soul's going to go there, and that might be the downfall of Kongdoo Monster, and they might see themselves. But we're going to see Azir trying to put up the super damage onto him, but Pilot gets in range to get against the Gnar, and that's going to be one more damage going in. Eugene's going to go down. That's going to be a wipe coming in from Kongdoo Monster, and that might be MVP. 10 kills ahead in this objective they have. They're going to be just pushing forward with the minions, and there's no contest, and that will be MVP. We're going to see them back in LCK Summer.
it was the longest road that MVP could take, but MVP will be fighting in summer. Kongdoo Monster cannot make their debut in LCK summer season. MVP will wonder how they got here, but they will be oh so happy to reminisce after today that they were able to win this best of 5. They went the full 5 games. Kongdoo Monster were not far away, touching distance away from their debut into a summer season, but this MVP team that joined in summer of 2016 will retain their spot unblemished into 2018 summer, and see the emotion on the face of Beyond. He was the one through his close-cropped haircut to show that the pressure was getting to him. The tears will flow on both sides. MVP just good enough to make it through. They will be the 10th LCK team to register their spot, and sadly for Kongdoo Monster, 3 years in a row, they felt this feeling before.
Gotta give it to Kongdoo though. They put out the best fight possible against MVP, who were the favorites coming in. You know, voted by many people across the the viewing audience that MVP should have won out this a lot easier than they actually did. So Kongdoo Monster, credits out to them. They put up a big effort, and it seems that once they have another challenger coming up, I could see them back in Stelsky Summer.
And we tip our hat to Kongdoo, like you mentioned. They are this awkward team that has never been good enough to retain top 10, but too good for Challenger again and again. They have always been 10th to 12th when it comes to professional teams in Korea, and this time they are 11th. They finish 11th, and sadly, that means they will not join us in summer season. We will, of course, go over the bracket, and we will have a team interview to talk about some of the ramifications here. We'll watch the replay of some of the highlights of this game. No MVPs, of course, in this tournament. Great gank, level 2, WQ, but no E on Edge, means he has no escape available to jump away. And Beyond's action in the early game did eventually lead to MVP having a pretty sizable map lead. This one, a bit of a blooper on their side.
I really thought that Roach getting the kill, in addition to getting Zach on the top end of things, would have been a big start for the side of Kongdoo Monster, especially with Eugen doing so well to cancel out that electric slingshot. We thought that it might be a beginning of something good coming in from Kongdoo Monster, but it has been halted short. Talk about the Baron importance of what we've been seeing throughout the series has come true once again. We see these team fights. They're only a minuscule of what the big picture actually was. It has been about the Baron. It has been about the Elder Drake that has followed the Baron take. And it really just contributed to a falling snowball that has built up bigger and bigger as time went on, as just one take right here. From the Brown Smile, you talk about just going forward with the next take and the next take. That eventually gets you closer.
And there were mistakes also, Joel. We have to talk about mistakes like this. Consider that Jinx is running into 4 tanks. She can't kill them all. She has no front line. Shouldn't have been going through the enemy jungle in that case and was taken down. And that's to be expected. Again, we were fighting for the 10th place team, the last team to qualify for LCK Summer. The greater mistakes in the final game were on the side of Seoul and Kongdoo Monster, and also so many times Seoul has had the good news stories for Kongdoo, just about available to close it out. MVP very clear here in terms of most valuable player. It goes to Ian. Great performance on the Vel'Koz to justify the 5th pick. The objectives rolled in, MVP just better on the day, but like we said a couple of times already, this is the closest Kongdoo were by far. They have rolled over in promotion tournament after promotion tournament when it came to Summer. They didn't roll over today. I know it's a very hollow thing to say, but I hope that after all this, they can sit back and say, we gave it our best try, and damn it, we were close.
We talk about the talented players that are in this roster of Kongdoo Monster, with Seoul, obviously a famous AD carry in the Korean community, and you also know Edge, who has proven himself time after time. Talk about Eugen as well, kind of a new face that we haven't expected too much out of.
Finally won a game.
And really has shown, ended on a good note in the LCK Spring, now going on to Summer as a challenger. I'm sure he'll be making a lot more appearances than he ever does, and once we see them maybe back in Summer, then he might just put up a little more forth going into this.
Well, Joel, if you need a chance to get a glass of water to really prepare yourself for a team interview that will come after this, please take it. We look over the numbers, Twitch chat love numbers, no zeros here to lull at. Least damage goes over to the Zach. What's he even thinking about on the side of MVP? But at the end of the day, we knew Azir and Jinx had the damage threat, but Jinx getting caught again and again means she's outclassed the tune of 2 times damage by the Caitlyn. More value out of the Caitlyn, she's safe. We mentioned that in Game 4. Jinx might do more theoretical damage. It didn't translate in Game number 5.
And my sights really does go to Ian, really does. You gotta talk about what he has done from
Well,
Karma.
you actually need to do the talking. I get to send it to you, and you're actually in person. I'm sending it to Joel right here for the translation.
Back to translator mode with Joel Sofian here with the translation. Very last one of LCK Spring. Here I am back again doing double duty for you guys. In addition to casting, we're gonna talk with MVP on their return back to LCK Summer, see how they feel about their victory. Let's talk with the coach for a bit. Finally, you get to put a smile on your face. And he talked about tears falling off. Nah, it wasn't really tears, it was just sweat falling from my forehead. You got the win. How do you feel about returning back to LCK? It was so tough, and it was something really, we lost confidence along the way. And you talked about the comments being made before the game. You said you were very underconfident about your team's retention into the LCK. I mean, first of all, in going to promotion, that confidence level already goes down from the confirmation that you do go to promotion, that you have to play additional game just to retain your spot in the LCK. But really, we talked about promotions that got us up into LCK, and we talked about promotions that got us back down, and we experienced both aspects of the game, and it just feels like the oxygen is a little more heavy. The air is harder to breathe when you're in the promotion tournament. Every moment was really, really tough, and if we ever return to the promotion, I feel like our attitude will be different that time around.
많이 느껴졌다 이런 말씀이신 것 같은데 오늘 뭐 경기 앞서서 그래도
And just
선수들이
going on to the matches,
이야기가 있었을 것
you
같은데
talked with the teams about your players.
오늘은 절대 경기 중간중간 피드백 할 때 혼을 내지 않겠다.
We decided that we were not going to be angry. We were not going to be feisty about giving feedbacks during the game. We were trying to stay as nice and stay as mannered as we provide the just the essential feedbacks and nothing more than that to get the players angry in their perspective. But you talk about being in a hole and you being just in a corner that you have to just overcome as players, and I know what they were going through, so really a big credits to them as well. Let's go over to the brighter story of things. You won, and now you can do a lot better in next season. How do you feel about that? Promotions are over, but we don't get a lot of break before we get to the next split with the summer coming up. There's nothing to do, but we have to practice after on. I know the players are so exhausted right now from the promotions, but they have to get back to practicing, unfortunately. But I feel like, maybe a 3-day break will be something that a player needs. It feels like the players are kind of in disagreement with such a short break after such a struggle in the promotion. I feel like if I rest for a long time, I feel like my form goes down. So I would like to get multiple breaks, short breaks. Instead of having one long break, we're going to have multiple short breaks, and that could be a little more efficient. ADD was gangplank was really important. How you pull that off.
그래서 오늘 경기를 앞두고 뭐 솔로 랭크에
felt
대한
like
이야기도 나올 정도로
solo queue rankings was under the conversation. You feel like you were proud of your performances today?
3경기 빼고는 다 그냥 고만고만하게
Other than game 3,
못했던 것 같아요.
I don't think it was great. I feel like game 3 was the only game I felt good about myself, but the other games I feel like there were many aspects where I could have improved on those individual plays that I remember in my head. I just feel like something that I have to keep in my heart to make sure I remember onto those things so I can carry on to this. Let's look at some of the highlights here from AD.
It's the ADD Merle, Joel. Get his name right.
He's ready for this one. Talk about 4v1 scenario, staying alive on this one with the help of Morgana. We were actually just going to abandon him, but we figured out he was the Admiral, and we just decided to keep him for one more round.
It's even funnier because he's the Admiral if you're a Korean, which...
I mean, they respect the Admiral, Papa.
That's true, that's true.
You were showing a little bit of tears in the booth beyond. The promotion itself is such a struggle in itself, and the individual pressure that I felt for myself as a player was quite big, and something that really had a hard time struggling through this, but the fact that we overcame it in the end was kind of a happy moment for me that got me on the tears. And a lot of people, we talked about beyond going into monk mode with the shaved head. Why did you decide to do that alone as a player instead of all together as a team? For me, I just wanted to just cut it off. And people feel like, when you do have a lot of depressing thoughts along the way, but I feel like I want to have a new insight into life. I just shaved off all my head. But people did say that he was gonna be showing a good moments when I do shave my head. I wonder if he's gonna keep that promise. But I wanna tell that nothing good has come my way with shaving my head, other than a victory, of course, Papa. But we're going back to why he shaved his head. But more importantly, he's back.
Wouldn't he have felt sheepish if he didn't shave his head and didn't make it back?
There you go.
Now every promotion series, the hair is straight off.
Whatever it takes. We saw it with the Jin agreement, we're batting back. We're going on with the interview still. You did have a lot of mixed emotions here with all the spectacular performance you showed today. It was really tough for me.
많이 지기도 하고 뭐 이길 때도
And you know, a lot of losses along the way,
좋네요.
and a couple of wins along the way. It
제가
feels,
막 엄청 잘하고 막 그런 게 아니라
but I feel like I wasn't the superstar in the series, but
그렇죠.
I feel like I was happy that everybody in the team contributed to the victory here.
네.
하시면서 무슨 생각이 좀 많이 드셨어요?
And what are the kind of the thoughts that were going through your head as you were just kind of approaching this series?
일단은 딱 이길 때 이제 딱
You know, when I won after Game 5,
때뭔 말하지?
you know, I was trying to think about what I should say in the interview.
별 생각이 안 나더라고요.
Really not much thoughts in the head when you have such a surge of emotions going back ways.
언제 이거 우리가 이겼다 뭐 이런 거 느끼셨어요?
Did you feel like,
어느 정도에서?
in what point did you feel like you won the game?
갱와서 1킬 먹었을 때
You know, we thought after getting that kill in mid lane,
들어가면
but whenever you do get an early kill with the Vel'Koz, just becomes a carry machine.
솔로랭크 벨코즈한테도 다 해당되는.
Just feels like it's been true in solo queue and it's true in competitive play that one kill early for Vel'Koz does get me a lot of strength to carry.
I think Soul can concur on that one. He found out about that real bad.
I found out in my gold status as well.
Oh, calm
Going
down
back.
there, Joel.
Going on to Pilot here.
연습하느라 엄청
It was really tough to practice and you know, it was really much of a struggle for all of us here.
기분이 좋은 것 같아요.
But you know, getting the win feels great though.
그래도 담담한 그런 느낌이 좀 드는 것 같은데 오늘 사실 전체적인 느낌이
We felt like
게임이 좀
today's
후반까지
matches today and
오래가는, 그리고
all the matches were kind of a long run, extending into the
부담감이 좀
end.
있었을
Felt like the
것 같아요.
pressure was
실제로
really
어떠셨어요?
on the ADCs of both sides.
제가 자신감이 좀 있어서
You know, I had confidence going into this one, but I felt like even in the late game, I felt like I was gonna win out the fights.
때
이니시 당한.
The fourth game, losing out, that which cost us the game.
좀 멘탈에 좀 금이 가긴 했는데요.
But it definitely scratched up my mentality
네.
and losing that
어쨌든
game
제가
4.
잘한다 생각해서
But I
5세트
knew I was good.
다시
I knew I was confident, and I could press that forward
게임을 풀어 나갔던 것
to
같아요.
getting the win. So I was really good at getting the win for our team.
어쨌든 잔류에 성공하셨잖아요. 네. 그러면 서버 때
You
훨씬 더
did
나은 모습 한번
succeed in the
팬들에게
retention,
각오
but
한 말씀
anything you'd like to say in your mindset going into the summer split?
사실 이게 승강전에서 떨어지는 게
You know, going on to
그래서
the relegation and going on to Division 2 is something that I hated more than death itself. So I'll make sure I'll put my effort in so that I will never return to promotion once again.
네. 그리고 맥스 선수하고도 이야기를 이제
Let's have a talk with Max as well.
결국 살아남았습니다.
You're here. You're back again.
지금 기분이 어떠세요?
How do you feel?
기분이 일단 이겼으니까 좋기는 한데
It feels good to win, obviously, but
경기력이 제
our
입장에서
performances, especially my individual ones, haven't been very satisfactory. But I feel like I need to work harder in preparation to go to the summer.
밝은 팀이잖아요.
네.
Just feels like MVP overall has been a very bright-minded team, and just feels like everybody's really positive about things.
밝았어요.
But I feel like who was the most positive member in the game here? Feels like Ian was the kind of the biggest, kind of the morale raiser for our team.
감독님이 실제로 부스에서도 뭔가 안 좋은 피드백 뭐 그런 것들을
I'm sure you had to kind of negate out the negative feedbacks during the games, depending on the coach.
다 해주셨는데
And we got the feedbacks across for most of the games here, but
소리를 많이 하시는 편은 아니세요.
he's not a type of guy that gives us a lot of negative feedbacks. He tries to be positive and tries to care for our mentality.
중압감이 너무 심해서
But I feel like the pressure was really on him to make sure that he wants to do a little bit better as a coach to make us stay in this LCK here.
분위기 메이커 역할을 또 이한 선수라고 했습니다만
We talked about Ian being the morale raiser here.
게임한 데 있어서 굉장히
But in addition,
잘 도와줬다.
who do you feel like was a big contributor in your victories today?
캐리는 뭐 딜러가 한다고 하지만
But I feel like AD carry is the biggest carry, obviously, but I feel like the top laner stood stable very well, and that kept us in the game, in the running here.
또 하셨는데 오늘 끝나고 나서
We're gonna go on to ADD here. Speaking of him,
진짜 게임만 너무 열심히
feels like you have been kind of hardcore on the practice route of things.
어제 오늘 이기고 마시려고 맥주를 하나 사서 냉장고에
You know, I kept one can of beer in my refrigerator in case I win today, and I think it's ready to go from the back to my refrigerator to get top off with that beer.
What brand do you think? Cass?
I mean, you can't argue with me on the beer aspect of things, Papa. You know the story.
Joel does not partake in beverages. it
I
turns
definitely do
out.
not. Beverages is not my thing. But going on to back to the interview here. Any last words? You are back at the summer. Any last words you want to say? A lot of people here, despite the rain heavily falling down, all the supporters are still here, strong and loud. Here for you today.
진짜 팬분들도 보시면서
I know that the fans have struggled just as much as we did as players and coaching staff. And of course, we had a struggle, and I know that we're not satisfied with the performances itself, although we did get the victory. And it really wasn't just an outright win for us getting in the 3-2 aspect of things. We are in the promotions. It wasn't good enough of a stage that we want to bring you guys in, so we want to present ourselves as a better team so that you guys be able to see us in more important games than the games that we have to kind of risk of falling down to the second division. So we just continue to ask for support to make sure that we just want to continue to give you guys the best performance we can. Just another end of the interview here with MVP, and here I am doing double duties for today. And Papa, it's good to sit on the song that you give me the interview really just right beside your arms.
You can send it right back to me over here. That's what we can do. And it just wouldn't be the LCK without MVP. They got the crazy picks. They throw it Baron. They're wonderful to watch. They'll be back. MVP and Jinna. They definitely are weird and wonderful to balance out some of those giants at the top of the table. And the scary part you remember is with Griffin looking really good and MVP just about getting in, two teams are going to have to be in relegations again in summer. We have a bumper crop of teams in the LCK. We'll show you, of course, the finalized lineup very shortly. But that's it. LCK Spring and all of its ramifications are over. No more Korean League of Legends for a couple of months. With that ending, of course, we can confirm that MVP will keep their status. Here we get the teams. So, MVP and Griffin, who got through in the winners bracket, are the teams through. Sadly, Kongdoo Monster and Ever 8, both of which were in the LCK very recently, will not be joining us. They will be jumping down to Challenger. Will Kongdoo prove to be once again too good for Challenger and join us in our summer, I guess spring 2019 promotions? That much remains to be seen. Hopefully we'll have a slide here to confirm all the teams that are in.
Let's see, Griffin here. Definitely a much better team compared to MVP in going through this summer promotions.
And that's it, guys. That means that's all we have.
We
guys, like I said, we'll be back in summer. That is, of course, a couple of months away. No official dates. We have to get to first order of business, and that's Joel. Thank you very much for joining us. We're all about hearty handshakes here. Your first LCK cast, a great job. And guys, you guys at home, we're ready to wrap it up. Have a lovely time with MSI. Have a lovely time with the LPL final next week. The Korean League of Legends, that life bet that we've had for so many years. It ends here. Don't worry, it starts up after just a short break. So guys, thank you very much. Waiting on the Korean casters, they're the ones who truly close it out. But Joel, any last words?
Anything that I want to talk about is that I'm glad to be here, making the LCK debut, and we'll be back on The Voice on Discord and removing my face away from the camera to give you guys the best translations in NA and in Korea all together. So don't worry about that. I'll be back in the next season.
Beautiful visage. You'll be back with the translation next season. Join us then. Thank you very much.